Okay, we are back with the legendary Mr. Charlie Daniels on a rock and roll road trip here in Tennessee. And we're going to play a song. This song, when I first heard this song, I just like these kind of songs. You know, I mean, this is blues, rock and roll, attitude. Probably, what year did you write this song?
Probably, I recorded it in 1974, so probably wrote it that same year, 74.
Yeah, so this was like a rebellious song back then. It's a little edgy, talking about preacher and...
Well, at the time it was written, it was the kind of age.
Yeah, and it's just so cool. I just dig the lyrics. So it's a little song called Long-Haired Country Boy, and I'm going to have to read the lyrics, Charlie. I hope you remember them.
I know.
You remember them?
I know.
You know them?
People say I'm no good, crazy as a moon. I get up in the morning and I get down in the afternoon. Kinda like my old blue tech hound, I like to live around in the shade. I ain't got no money, but I dang sure got it big. 'Cause I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own. Don't like the way I'm living. You just leave this long-haired country boy alone.
Let's see if I can get this. Preacher man talking on TV, putting down rock and roll. Wants me to send a donation 'cause he's worried about my soul. Said Jesus walked on water, and I know that it's true. But sometimes I think that preacher man would like to walk on a little water too. And I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own.
Get it gone. You don't like the way I'm living. You just leave the long-haired country boy alone. Ready?
Oh yeah, Charlie, give me something. Hit it.
Here we go.
Do I go to the floor now?
Yeah.
Well,
Pure Mississippi, man.
I struggled.
A poor girl wants to marry, and a rich girl wants to flirt. A rich man goes to college while a poor man goes to work.
Ain't that the truth?
Drunkard wants another drink of wine, any politician wants a vote. I don't want much of nothing at all, but I will rope another goat. 'Cause I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own.
Well,
If you don't like the way I'm living, you just leave long-haired country boy alone. Hey, if you don't like the way I'm living, you just leave long-haired country boy alone.
I'm sitting here someplace with Charlie Daniels. Charlie, where the hell would you call this?
You are at Twin Pine Studio
Yeah?
in Wilson County, Tennessee, about 30 miles east of Nashville.
Boom. Okay, now see why I didn't try to say that?
GPS broke, right?
Yeah, I was driving around the neighborhood. Does anybody know where Charlie is? Right down the road.
Go past the big pine tree and take a right, right.
Oh, so Charlie, did you build this studio?
We built the studio, yeah.
How long ago?
I'll tell you a little story about it. It's been, probably 12 years ago. We were building a warehouse with a shop for working on instruments and stuff to keep merchandise and stuff. And I walked out here one day, and it stopped right there. They had it laid out, and I told my office manager, I said, "Come with me." And I walked back and stopped right there. I said, "I want you to build this much more on and leave the roof open. I'm gonna put a studio in it."
Yeah,
that's what this is. I have no idea how wide it is. It's about 12.
Honestly, when I walked in here, it felt like it's been here a long time, and that's a good thing. Obviously, you use it.
It's very much home. Nobody records here hard except just us, and we usually leave everything set up. We got drums set up, and
yeah, that's the way to do it.
Just mic them, and we got amplifiers isolated all over the building. We come in and plug in. We're ready to go.
This is you. This is what you do. Somebody said, "What do you do, and what are you gonna do?"
I just thank God I can make a living doing something I enjoy so much.
I
thoroughly enjoy what I do, and I've been doing it now I left Wilmington, North Carolina with a guitar and a dream back in 1958, 60 years ago. Wow. And I've been blessed to do this ever since. And I came to Nashville in 1967, and with a $20 bill in the clutch out of my car, 2-year-old baby and a wife, and God's been good to me.
The part of that whole country, Southern rock movement, you're a big part of it. It seemed to be that was rock then, and now you're country. How'd that happen? Did you plan on going country, or did you always think you were country?
Actually, what I decided a long time ago, when I first started recording, I had a hard time finding myself. I had come up out of 13 years of playing beer joints, copy music, and the more you could sound like the record, the more work you got, the better people liked it, So when I first started recording, I had a hard time trying to be anybody but me. It was the 5th album when I finally went in the recording studio and said, "Okay, I'm going to open my mouth. Whatever comes out is me." And that's when it's this album called Fire on the Mountains, the first hit album we ever had. And what happened as far as the country and the rock's concerned, this was back in the 70s when radio would play just about anything.
Yeah, playing soul music, Otis Redding and Led Zeppelin on the same channel. Yeah.
And we played, our music always had a little country bit to it, but a lot of people would play it. But we got play on a lot of rock type stations, and country stations a lot of times wouldn't play us because it was a little too hard edged. It was the drums were too mixed up, too loud, the bass was too loud, the guitars were too bluesy, and that sort of thing. But as time has gone along, country music has really evolved. If you listen to a country record from back about the middle 70s, and you put one on from one of the new groups nowadays, it sounds like two different genres of music.
It's to me, it's pop music now. Yeah. I mean, country music now is the pop music of. It's what you hear on the radio.
A lot of the sounds that we were doing back then, the slide guitars and that sort of twin guitars and double drums.
Oh, that era. That's what I grew up on.
That's kind of filtered into today's country music, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, Charlie Daniels Band, Allman Brothers, Skinner, Marshall Tucker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That stuff, man, that was the kind at the time, man. Nowadays, that would be pure country music. That wouldn't even be considered rock almost.
Yeah, basically,
you might have to tone it down a little bit, like you said, bring the vocals out a little farther.
Yeah. Not much, really. I mean, it's amazing what country music has evolved into nowadays.
Are you cool with it? What do you think about it?
Except for the repetition.
A lot of songs sound the same, don't they?
I can't tell the difference. The artists can't tell the difference in the songs and that sort of thing. That may be from my age or whatever it is, I don't know, but that's the main thing that gets me. There's a lot of talented kids. My feeling is this, Sammy. I was able to do anything I wanted to. Ron Luxembourg gave me a record deal in 1976. He said, "I'm giving you a firm 6-album deal. If you don't do it, really.
There ain't no such thing anymore.
There's no such thing. If you don't do it the first one, you do it the second. If you don't do it the second, you do it the third, so on and so forth. We're doing this because we believe in your talent. I think there's a lot of kids nowadays that if they could get an album deal, a record deal like that, there is no telling what they'd do. Mm-hmm. If they would get out from under a record company's thumb, if they didn't have an A&R man hanging over there, saying you can't do that, you got to dress this way, you got to walk this way and talk this way. And there's a lot of talented kids out there that we never see the depth of their talent. Because it's kind of, they want you to sound this way.
Who's the greatest songwriter of all time?
Well, I like Hank Williams a lot, and you get to listen to some of his. You talk about lonesome. You talk about heartbreak.
Look,
you talk
goosebumps.
about heartache.
Look at that. You see that?
Yeah.
You see that? I'm so
It's
lonesome
like,
I could cry. I can't even listen to that.
Who would ever think of it? Hear that lonesome whippoorwill? He sounds too blue to fly. The moon just went behind a cloud to hang its head and cry. I mean,
and a man writing songs like that in those days.
Yeah.
That's a sensitive man.
He was very, very, very sensitive. You know, he only lived to be 29 years old.
Wow.
What would he have done if he had gone on into his later years? And there are others. There are other great people. There's a guy that lived not too far from here. Died a while back. His name was Curly Putnam, and he wrote "Green Green Grass of Home." And in my book, the most quintessential country song of all times, which is George Jones's "He Stopped Loving Her Today."
Oh, come on!
Now
I can't even listen to that song.
That I know.
There we go. I can't. I cry. That special where everyone did a tribute to George Jones, and that song. Whew.
Well, you can't imagine anybody else doing it but George Jones either.
Yeah, and you can't imagine trying to sing that damn song on stage.
No, nobody can do it like he did.
You're playing with all these people. I'm looking at Bob Dylan on the wall. Did Bob give you that painting?
That what?
That painting of Bob Dylan on the wall over there?
No, he didn't give me that. In fact, I don't even know where that came from. But yeah, I did.
But what the hell did Bob give you besides a paycheck?
I did three. That was put my name on the back of his albums. I came here in '67, and in '69, Bob Dylan showed up. I'll tell you a little story about that.
Not a bad songwriter either.
No, he's pretty good. But if he'll hang in there, I think he might do something. A lot of people think Nashville Skyline was the first album that Bob Dylan ever did in Nashville. It was actually the third one. He did John Wesley Harding and Blonde on Blonde, and he came in 1969 to do the Nashville Skyline album. And they had built a band around him. They had a nucleus of musicians that he enjoyed working with. And they had booked 15 sessions to do the entire album. The guitar player who had been playing with him was unable to make the very first session. And the producer, a friend of mine, Bob Johnston, he asked me to come in and fill in for him, and I did. And I stood, I hung on every word that came out of his mouth, every note he played. And I played with all my heart and soul. And at the end of the session, I was packing my gear up to leave. And Bob Dylan asked Bob Johnston, the producer, said, "Where's he going?" He said, "He's leaving. I got another guitar player coming in." He then said 9 words that would change my life. He said, "I don't want another guitar player. I want him."
Oh, Lord.
And it just, it was like, wow. And it was the biggest thing that ever happened to me, obviously. And he was always kind enough. You know, people wanted to know about Dylan. They literally read the liner notes.
He's got such a mystique. Nobody knows shit about Bob.
Who reads the liner notes on anybody's album? Dylan, they always read the liner notes. And he put your name on there, and it meant a lot. It gave you a kind of validity and a kind of legitimacy.
So how long were you around? I mean, how long did the sessions last?
I did 3 albums with him. I did, Nashville Skyline, Self-Portrait, New Morning.
Oh, wow.
It was back
did you
in
go on
December.
tour, Bob?
No, I didn't go on tour with Bob. I tell you who I did go on tour though with that you might would like and record with was Leonard Cohen.
Oh yeah, Leonard Cohen, one of the not a bad songwriter.
Not a bad
Come on,
songwriter
Hallelujah
at all.
Alone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Bird on the Wire. I'm a big Leonard Cohen fan. I loved his style of singing.
Well,
I could have sang 16 hours a night like him. I could do 4 shows a night, 7 days a week if I'd learned to sing that good and low like that. Just whispering, just sitting there.
Well, you know, he was
Special.
He was
man.
amazing.
So Elvis, I think, was the greatest star of all time for me.
He was. I totally agree with you.
You wrote a song. Did you get to hang with him a little bit?
No, I never met Elvis.
Oh,
I wrote
man.
a song in 1962, I think it was. He recorded it in 1963. And
Wow, how'd that happen? I mean, how do you get a song to Elvis?
Somebody heard it and put it in his portfolio. He had a portfolio, probably had 100 songs in it or something, I don't know. But somebody chose it and put it in his, Elvis, when you get around to listening to this, may be something you want to record. I happened to be I wasn't living here, I was living somewhere else, but I happened to be in Nashville
special.
the night that he recorded it.
I'd have demanded to me.
Well, you didn't demand much about Elvis.
I'm not saying what it got. I'm not saying what it
The only
worked.
thing anybody demanded anything Elvis's Uncle Sam said, "Come here, son."
So, have you ever thought about retirement in your whole career?
Not
Was there ever
seriously,
a time?
No, I never have. Since I first set out on this path back in 1958. And I have never actually seriously considered a time in my life when I would not have music, when I would not be involved in playing shows and writing songs and making records and that sort of thing. I've not planned my life past that point.
Well, me too now. It's like growing up, like I used to always think, well, you can't do it, after you're 40, you can't, you can't get old and be a rock star. But I'm over that rock star thing. First of all, just being a musician and being able to do this. I've been saying for the last few years that I want to be someday the oldest living rocker on the planet, right? And it's like, in order to do that, I'm gonna have to hang in there a long time. Guys like you and Willie you guys gonna make it tough on me. You know what I'm saying?
As long as Willie lives, always somebody older than me in the business.
I want to be the oldest someday.
That's my point of pride, man.
I swear I want to be the oldest someday.
You got a long time to live, man.
That's what I'm saying.
You better take good care of yourself.
Well, that's my plan.
Yeah.
And you too.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being on the show.
Oh,
I got to tell you, Charlie, it's really an honor
looking forward
sitting
to this.
here with a legend like you and stuff. I mean, the last part of my show is kind of silly, so I want to get the serious handshake out of the way first, because after this, you probably won't want to shake my hand.
Okay.
I got some hit and run questions for you. These are just like yes or no.
Okay.
And don't go soft on me. These guys say, oh, no, I can't say, oh, no, it's, this or that. I call it this or that.
Bring it on.
Country or bluegrass?
Country.
Boom. Hunting or fishing?
Ooh, man. Fishing.
I sit up at night and think these up. I'll wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, oh, what about this one? Crenshaw or Perlman?
Who?
Perlman, the classical violinist.
Oh, Itzhak Perlman.
Crenshaw or
Him
Perlman?
above everybody else on the planet. I saw him one time. He was in the Opry House, and I was sitting out front before the show, and somebody said, "You want to go meet Mr. Perlman?" I said, "I'd love to." So we went backstage. He was sitting back there, and I said, "Hi, Mr. Perlman. I'm Charlie Daniels. I'm a fiddle player." He said, "We are all fiddle players."
Oh,
all fiddle players.
He's not uppity.
No, not at all. But the thing about it was, people always ask me the difference between a violin and a fiddle. There is no difference.
There is no difference?
It's like Perlman's a fiddle player. They're all fiddles.
Yeah, well, yeah, I had to throw that. I thought that was my most brilliant one. Okay.
It was pretty brilliant. Somebody knew who Crenshaw was.
This is probably going to be hard for you. Dylan or Elvis?
Oh, man. I can't have both of them?
Yeah, of course you can. Another rock and roll road trip in the can with the legendary Charlie Daniels in the house. Woo!